I'm only 17 years old, so I haven't seen much of the world yet. Therefore, I'm aware that my understanding of it is very negligible. Yet, throughout this insignificant lifetime of mine, I've been trying to fathom the constantly morphing thing that our world is. Only, I don't even know what exactly it is that I'm seeking comprehension of. And that's what makes it so complicated. Nevertheless, in the future, I'm sure I'd like to remember my vision of the world when I was younger. And my way of doing so is by making a film out of it. So, future Elsa, welcome to La Vie, La Vraie. A film about your understanding of the world at this stage. On the whole, I've only really experienced 3 ways of looking at life. The first phase lasted 13 years. This is an embarrassingly long period of time, but I guess that, as a child, you just don't give a fuck. And that's exactly what this first phase was about. From 0 to 13 years of age, not giving a fuck. I mean, when you're first thrown into the world, you don't immediately start to question everything around you. You just do as you're told. Go to school, eat your greens, and live life without thinking about it. So that's what I did. And that's why I didn't realize, until much older, that this careless mindset was my first way of going about with life.
Coucou la Zoé. Fais un question, fille.
Comment ça? Elle a quel âge Elsa chez vous?
Elle a 6 ans. Elle a 7 ans. 7 ans. Elle a 3 ans.
3 ans. C'est même pas l'âge de sa fille. 7 ans.
Sometimes you've just got to let go of your intellectual tools and you've got to look at the world with the eyes of a child. Just in order to appreciate what you have for what it is. Even if you don't fucking know what it is. In short, my first way of comprehending the world was precisely to understand that I couldn't understand it. However, there obviously comes a time in life when you start to wonder about life itself. By the age of 13, it was clear to me that the world was just a huge mass of unintelligible nonsense. Yet, I wanted to make sense out of the nonsense. Because that's just what humans do. So, from 13 to 15 years of age, I was obsessed with complexities. The not giving a fuck phase remains very much relevant. My new vision of the world was, and is, by no means superior to the previous one. It's simply different. If anything, I was the one who was superior to this older version of me who only had one way of perceiving things. Because now, I had 2 different tools in my power. They weren't the same, but the first one was, and is, just as important as the second one.
On voit plus Mima. C'est tellement silence qu'on voit plus Mima.
Attention la petite Elsa, il faut qu'on la voit.
Mima, arrête de faire l'andouille avec tes jambes là, on voit tes culottes.
Until now, my world had been structured by the basic meanings that humans had attributed to the nonsense of life. But as soon as I found out that when you peel off the surface, you encounter myriads of levels of interpretation, I was absolutely fascinated. I was mesmerized by the discovery of depths of meanings, that you could grasp things to different degrees and basically be in a completely different dimension than the people around you. In short, to the knowledge of the simplicity of the world, I added the one of its complexity. From 15 to 17 years of age, being the right size. Once again, this new phase doesn't mean that the previous ones were wrong. If anything, it just means that I, as a person, have evolved. Rigidity never works. We end up being the wrong size for our world. It seems to me that being the right size for your world, and knowing that both you and your world are not by any means fixed dimensions, is a valuable clue to learning how to live. Now this quote perfectly illustrates the concept of my third phase.
In fact, my third phase began because of the quote. I realized that just as my world is constantly morphing, I also am, and the people around me also are, and their own worlds are too. So when I feel comme une merde bis, stronche, le spleen, ridiculous, when at this point ça fait juste pitié, I need help or yelp, when I'm in the phase Flaubert aigu, whenever I feel like today should be a rainy day, and whenever I just
do shit like this, it's just because I'm trying to squeeze myself into a world that isn't my size anymore. And the solution often is to embrace the novelty, even if it's scary.
That's why I also write things called C'est l'heure, Break the Routine, or Le changement c'est maintenant.
And I guess that this is a perfect way to transition into my conclusion, which is that journaling was an amazing way for me to understand our nonsense.